Welcome everyone to episode 6 of the Lightning Round. I am your host, Lightning.
And I am your co-host, Robot.
This week, to start off, we're going to talk about interviews again. This week there is no interview. There was just so much going on with BronyCon and everything that we couldn't get an interview this week. However...
Yeah, basically everyone that we were going to interview was going to be at BronyCon.
So, that being said, we do have interviews lined up for the next 2 weeks. Next week, we have an interview with the cast from Celestia Radio. DJ Shamrock is going to be there along with PH Pony. The week after that, the 14th, we're going to have an interview with Jeff the Strider, who is a Brony musician that is working with Welcome to Ponyville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was featured on Balloon Party.
Yes.
As his other name, Stars in Autumn.
Yep. So that'll be a really cool interview as well. So, moving on to the next topic, we actually have the weather report.
All right. First item on the list, a while back, Equestria Daily had a sort of mini contest thing going on, called Ponies Around the World, where you bought yourself a pony toy, and you took a picture of that pony in a place that is a recognizable visual landmark. Like, you could take a picture of Applejack next to the Alamo, or Rarity next to the Eiffel Tower. If you live near a thing, you just take a picture of your pony at a landmark. And they're doing that again. They're bringing that back after, basically a year, I think. And the rules are no Photoshop. You can't use Photoshop. You have to actually be there. And it just has to be a landmark. So you can send your stuff to Equestria Daily. And there's a link to more information on that in the show notes.
Next topic on the list is some information from Galacon, which is going to be the convention in Stuttgart, and they've announced that Julia Manin and Anili Heed is going to be there, and for those of you that don't know, Julia is German Twilight Sparkle, and Anili is the Swedish Spitfire that everyone's come to know since the whole Polish fiasco. So
yeah, not to be confused with the Polish Spitfire, who's actually a man.
So both of those are going to be both of those people are going to be at Galacon, and they're going to be included on a Q&A panel. And more information for that is in the show notes.
All right, next on the list, we have some convention news from Canterlot Gardens in Ohio. Megan McCarthy, who is getting really involved in the fandom this summer, who is the author of such episodes as Dragon Shy and Party of One, Lesson Zero, and Green Isn't Your Color. So basically all of your favorite episodes she's going to be at Canterlot Gardens, which is, oh god, I don't know the dates.
If I'm not mistaken, that's September 28th through the 30th.
Right, okay.
A rather late one.
Alright, there's some other news from Canterlot Gardens as well in this post. Fighting is Magic is going to be bringing a hands-on demo, so if you are at Canterlot Gardens, you will have a chance to actually play Fighting is Magic, which is basically the most anticipated game in the entire fandom. Also going is Jennifer Hale, who is not a pony voice actress, but she's in basically everything else, if you have ever played any video game. And also she's Miss Keen in the Powerpuff Girls. So she's gonna be there, that's cool. And if you remember from a really long time ago, Camaraderie is Supernatural. If you have heard of that and you like that, they will also be at Canterlot Gardens, as well as Everfree Radio. So there's more information on all of those things in the show notes.
Alright, a special blog on YouTube has posted a video about bronies. There's a blog that has gone on called Good Mythical Morning, and they have recently caught wind of the whole brony phenomenon and have decided to finally do an episode based on it. Now, for once, they've actually decided before they start judging the show that they are going to watch it. They watched a couple episodes. In fact, the person that suggested this topic actually gave them 3 videos, and they watched the first one, which happened to be, I think, a PMV that someone put together.
No, the first one was an interview at a panel at a con with John Delancey talking about ponies.
John Delancey, that's right. Yeah, it was John Delancey, and his, I think it was an interview that he did about the community.
I think he was talking about his documentary. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the BronyCon documentary. And it also included a Saber Sparks documentary that he put out as well, called Ballad of the Brony. After they watched this, they kind of got the idea that, okay, maybe this show isn't, what we thought it was. And one of the guys that did the show actually has a 9-year-old daughter that watches and absolutely loves the show. So he watched a couple episodes with her, and his co-host also watched a couple of episodes. And what they said is that though they themselves probably won't be bronies because it's not something that appeals to them generally, they said that they can understand and see why some other people our age would enjoy it. So finally, there's actually some good news that's coming out of, people watching the show and people that want to report on it saying that this isn't abnormal, this isn't weird, it's just another cool thing that people have put out. So you can watch the whole interview. It's like 15 minutes long or whatever, and the link to that is in the show notes.
All right, next on the list, some more news from Equestria Daily events. Equestria Daily held a competition recently. It was an art contest of which the theme was ponies playing with ponies. And the results have come up. There's a lot of really, really cute, adorable things in here. And this is a picture of baby Scootaloo in Rainbow Dash pajamas. It's just a bunch of awesome, really good art, and there's a significant amount of Lyra and Spitfire in it, and also Trixie. And it's worth a look, and there's a lot of adorable art, so go check that out in the show notes.
And just as a note to that, we will add a couple of... There were actually some prizes for this, and for any of the art that won a prize, we'll post a picture of it at the end of this podcast so you can take a look at it.
So look out for that, then.
Next thing to talk about is that there was a recent Facebook poll that asked everyone what who they thought their favorite pony was. And the results came back with the top 3 being Rainbow Dash, Twilight Sparkle, and Fluttershy. So We Love Fine, the makers of all those really cool t-shirts, have come out with a contest called the My Favorite Pony Design Contest. And there's going to be a contest for each of those 3 ponies, Rainbow Dash, Twilight Sparkle, and Fluttershy, where the first prize is going to be $500, and there will be 3 runner-ups for $100, and the 5 winners in each category are forwarded to a finale contest where the grand prize is $3,000. The way this works is you do your design and then send it in. For the Twilight Sparkle contest, the guest judge is actually going to be Tara Strong, judging these various designs. For Fluttershy, it's going to be Andrea Libman. The Rainbow Dash guest judge has yet to be decided, but going by what it looks like, there's a high chance that it might be Ashley Ball if they can get her to do that. So this is turning out to be really cool, and obviously the prize money is also a very good incentive to do this. So if you like to design things, this is going to be a competition for you. So the link for all this information is in the show notes.
All right, and next on the list, as you may be aware, Tara Strong has been bringing lots of members of the production team on the show just onto Twitter. She brought Megan McCarthy on a while back. what she has done is she has gotten Lauren Faust on Twitter for everybody to go bother. So she's on Twitter as Firefly, and you can go check that out in the show notes, because there's a link to it. Alright, let's talk about BronyCon.
Yes, obviously the biggest news portion of this week is going to be about BronyCon. BronyCon had a whopping 4,000 bronies attending, and there were lots of crazy things that went on. Let's start talking about it. It started out with the opening ceremony, and, I mean, they say opening ceremony, it was, like 15 minutes long, just saying, welcome to the convention. They had a whole bunch of the voice actors from the show come up and say things. Lauren Faust actually came out with them, and literally was on the verge of tears, because it was really cool to see, the creator of the show come out and see the fandom that has rose up around this show that she created. And it was really touching. So they've got a video of that, which is pretty cool. Going on to the panels that they had, the first one was Musicians in the Morning, and had a whole bunch of musicians from the fandom that were there. They actually had Living Tombstone, Jackalap, Alex S., Pinkie Pie Swear, Mike the Microphone, Macon, D-Notive, and Final Draft was hosting.
So wow, that's basically like all of the biggest names in the fandom.
Yes, pretty much. I mean, pretty much everyone that has put out the highest rated songs. I mean, obviously the Living Tombstone was, the one that had the song that made it onto Rock Band. So that was really cool. And obviously they do a lot of collaborations together as well. The next panel that they had was the animation panel. Very cool things that they talked about, because they had a whole bunch of people that were from like Epic Cupcake Time, Epic Pie Time, Epic Web Time. They had the creator of that series up there. They had Ask the Crusaders and Laser Poetry as well. And they talked about what goes into making their stuff, and I think they also went into the new animation that's coming out called Children of the Night. Yes, I'm actually really looking forward to that. That's sounding really cool. Then came the voice actor panel. This one was really cool. It featured Tara Strong, Andrea Lidman, Nicole Oliver, Kathy Westlock, Peter New, and Lee Tokar. Some of these people, like Peter New and Lee Tokar, really haven't done much with the community. I think Lee Tokar had a interview on Everford Radio once. But that was about.
He's showing up at a lot of times, though.
Right. And I don't think Peter New has been to any either, but he's going to be at more as well. But this was a really cool one, where they didn't really have any Q&A, because that happened the second day. They had a couple questions that were asked to them. I think Final Draft did that one as well, and that was really informative and really cool to hear some of the answers that they said. Then came the Friendship is Witchcraft panel, and obviously they talked a little bit about what they did, but the big part of that one was their new episode that came out called Cherry Bomb. And if you haven't seen that yet, you really got to see it. It's probably not one of their best ones, but still worth a watch, because I mean that entire series is really good.
It's the last roundup, right?
Yes, it's a parody off of the last roundup. They also had the Lauren Faust panel, which I actually didn't get a chance to go and listen to yet. But obviously Lauren Faust is the creator of Friendship is Magic, and that panel is bound to be extremely informative, and just I'm sure she goes into how she got the idea to start in the first place.
Yeah, she goes into that really early in the thing, yeah.
One of the last panels of the first day was Double Rainbow, and that whole project is sounding like it's getting pretty close. I think they said that they want to have the first episode out by, I think they said by September. For those of you that don't know, they are going to put out a fan-made episode that is going to come out in 6 parts. Wait, no. You know what? what they said is that they're going to have the entire thing done sometime around August, and they're going to put it out either weekly or daily, and what that's going to depend on is they said they're going to see when Season 3 starts, and if they're able to put it out weekly, that's what they're going to do, but otherwise they'll just put one out every single day, so that the entire thing gets out before Season 3 starts. So that's going to be coming up pretty soon, and I think it's literally the first fan-made episode that we're going to see.
As far as a full 22-minute episode.
Right, yeah. It'll be a full 22-minute episode. So that's going to be really cool. That night, of course, they had the Bronypalooza, which was just a huge, rave dance party. They had Laser Poetry there, doing, a laser show. They had all the musical artists like The Living Tombstone, Art Attack, Alex S., Omnipony, and Denotive. And actually, Mike the Microphone finished off, that concert and actually did a stage dive off the stage at the end of that performance. So that was pretty interesting. And I think they have a video of that on Equestria Daily as well. Now, the next day, the convention started off with a writer's panel. You that watched the writer's panel live, you know what happened. About halfway through it, and you know, before all the craziness happened, they did get into a couple of cool things. It was Megan McCarthy and Amy Keaton Rogers that was doing the panel, and Peter New was emceeing it and giving them the questions. But halfway through it, one of the light fixtures caught on fire and started raining sparks and melted plastic onto the floor, and so they had to evacuate the building. And the fire truck showed up and everything, and it was a big mess, which pretty much delayed the entire convention by 2 hours. So it was kind of ridiculous. Also during that writers panel, Amy Keaton Rogers had talked about when she wrote the Smile, Smile, Smile song, and how the original one was actually supposed to be a little bit longer, and actually gave us a performance by her of the original version of Smile, 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 and how she had originally envisioned it. And she said that Daniel Ingram did a really good job with it, but it was still really cool to hear how the original Smile, Smile, Smile song was supposed to go. Next on the list is the costume contest and photo shoot. That was a big part of the entire convention, where they had just a whole bunch of people cosplaying and stuff like that. They actually have a couple of videos of all the people that were cosplaying and the photo shoots that they did. So you can go and check that out as well. The last thing they have posted on EQD right now is the John Delancey Q&A panel, which was really fun. I mean, he goes into the basic stuff about, you know, how he had done the voice acting, just, you know, because his agent had said, you know, they have some lines for you to do, and he said, yeah, okay. And, you know, he said he completely forgot about it, and then 2 or 3 months later, after the episode had premiered, he gets 400 emails from Brony saying, you know, you're so awesome. And everyone's heard that story, but he also goes into a lot about what got him into voice acting in the first place, and how it had started, way back when he was 13 or 14. So, stuff that I haven't really heard of. So that's really cool. And, all of this stuff, all of these things that I've talked about, are all posted on EQD in one big, huge mega post. Now, unfortunately, this is not all of the posts, or all the panels that happened during this entire convention.
Yeah, I think all of the stuff that was in the tail hall pretty much isn't up yet, as of recording this podcast.
Right. I'm pretty sure that the game dev panel isn't up. They don't have anything from the there was a Twitter Ponies panel that went on as well that isn't up, and I don't think any of the PMV panel is up either, where they premiered the Anthology 2. However, they do have Ponies the Anthology 2 posted, the video itself. So I'm sure that stuff will be up later, but as of right now, it's not posted. But a lot of other things did go on at the convention.
Not the least of which being fire.
Well, yeah, the fire was obviously probably one of the biggest things. In fact, EQD made a big deal out of it and have their basic EQD at BronyCon banner. But then after that happened, they added fire on the top of EQD as kind of a joke, and I thought that was kind of funny. And it is funny looking back on it because no one got hurt, and I think that's the biggest point is that no one got hurt, so it's actually kind of funny when you look back on it. And with that, that'll bring us to the PMTV segment of the podcast, and and as usual, we will start out with the videos of the week. One of the first things I found was actually relatively new. They had a PMV come out called Disconnected. And not only was the song that went along with it really cool, but it was extremely good editing. My Little Visuals is the one that actually put it out. And the editing for it is so impressive that I just had to add it because it was really, really well done. The link for that is obviously in the show notes. Next thing was a crossover it was made by the guy that's behind My Little Portal, and that crossover that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And what he did is he took the opening to My Little Pony and added some Portal 2 into that. So he didn't ponify Portal 2, but he Portal 2ified My Little Pony. So it's a little backwards than what usually happens, but that was pretty cool. Next thing was the 7th episode of Friendship is Witchcraft called Cherry Bomb that Sureclap Pones put out. Obviously, we've talked about it a little bit. It was a parody done off of Last Roundup, which was the Derpy episode, and if you haven't seen it yet, they did kind of deal with that whole thing a little bit differently. So that was kind of cool, and you can check that out. The next next video that I have on here was the new Mauve video by Hot to Get a Demon came out. This one is Pinkie Pie's episode known as Party.Mauve, and if you're a fan of that series, then obviously you're gonna like it. Obviously, it's like all the other ones, very adult oriented and inappropriate for children. So if you're a fan of that series, definitely go and check that one out. Next thing is the new episode of Doctor Who's Adventures came out. That's the other one besides Doctor Who's and the Assistant. This is Doctor Who's and Twilight. Doctor Who's being played by the Jamdar, who we had in our interview last week. The new episode's called Chords of Chaos, and so definitely go and check that one out if you've been following that series. Next thing on the list is Ponies the Anthology 2. This one was premiered at BronyCon, but because of the fire, I'm not exactly sure what they did. I think they played like half of it, and then played like the other half at the later panel, because they split it up into 2 different panels, because it was originally supposed to be 2 hours long. So, the video is 1 hour and 20 minutes long, and it's absolutely huge, but it's just as awesome, if not more awesome, than the very first one that came out. And this is obviously one of the most anticipated videos of the year. So definitely go and check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. Last thing I want to talk about is a video that Paleo put out. For those of you that don't know, Paleo is Saberspark's partner during Brony Breakdown. And he said that he's going to be starting a new series called Top 7. And the first episode that he brought out is called The Top 7 Emotional Moments of Season 2, which everyone knows there are a lot of them. And I've watched this. I completely agree with the top 7 that he picked. And so if this is something that interests you, definitely go and check that out. Links for all of these are in the show notes.
All right, that brings us to our music segment. First on the list, we have a song called I'll Raise the Sun, You Raise the Moon by, I think, Archers of Agincourt, who I believe are a fairly new name in the community, I believe. And this piece of music is beautiful, and it's definitely worth checking out. These people, or person, needs to make their mark in the music community. It's a beautiful piece. Next on the list, why did we put this in? Next on the list is a song by me. If you haven't heard it already, I did a lyrified cover of Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. And, that happened. So that's in the show notes. Next on the list we have, if you remember the songs, oh god, what's it called? Spin That Record Vinyl Scratch? Isn't it originally by Icky?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, Icky wrote Spin That Record Vinyl Scratch, and he has done a remake of it called Spin That Record Again. This one features DJ Shamrock as the vocalist, who of course is from Celestia Radio, and very, very fun and awesome. And next on the list we have a cover of the song from the newest Friendship is Witchcraft already, by Coco Neru, who of course is awesome. And so he's done his cover of the Gypsy Bard song from Friendship is Witchcraft 7. So go check that out. Next we have a song by Legion called Discord's Game. And this song is pretty hardcore and awesome. We have a song by Legion called Discord's Game. And like any good Discord song, it's really evil and awesome, and you should listen to it, because Discord music is good. And this is good. Next on the list we have a song called The Battle for Appaloosa, which of course is based on Over a Barrel, and the pie battle that goes on there, and it's sort of westernish. It's pretty unique. It's by Muffins with a Z, and a link to all of the songs are in the show notes, which brings us to the call board. To make up for the week when we didn't have anything, the 2 weeks when we didn't have a new casting call, there are 2 this week. First on the list we have Dr. Adorkable's Sing-Along blog, which of course is based on Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along blog. This is the ponified version with Twilight Sparkle as Dr. Horrible. I think Rainbow Dash is Captain Hammer and Fluttershy is Penny. The roles that this person is looking for are Twilight, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Spike, the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and Mayor Mare. So go check that out. There's instructions on how to audition in there. It doesn't look like there are any actual audition lines, but if you can contact Ohio Brownie Show about this, then you can get more information on that. There's a link to that in the show notes. The other thing that we have is related to Turnabout Storm, which of course is the My Little Pony Phoenix Wright fan project. They have lost their apple bloom due to complications in this girl's life, but so they need a new apple bloom. If you can do an apple bloom voice, they really need your help. So go check that out in the show notes, because Turnabout Storm is it's a great project, and there's lots of good voices on it. So yeah, go check it out.
That'll bring us to the fanfic corner for this episode, and this week I highlighted a story called Dictated Not Read by Device Heretic. It's a relatively short story, so there's not much that I can say about it that doesn't give away too much. It's Twilight Sparkle that is writing a letter to Celestia about this gift that she had received for Hearthwarming Eve, and it was given to her by her parents, and she just explains about this gift, and it leads into something more later on in the story. It's very touching and a little bit sad, and if you have a little bit of time on your hands, definitely go and read this. It's only 4,000 words or so. So this is all in FinFiction, and the link for this story is in the show notes. The last thing that we have for this week is going to be something new that I want to start. Every month, at the end, like the last week of each month, I want to go back to things that have come into the fandom before we started this podcast. And I'm going to call it the flashback segment. The last week of each month, we're going to go back to the one video, one song, and one fanfic that has come into the fandom in the past. And we're going to start off with the video.
Okay, the video for this week is technically actually a series. I'm talking about the Mentally Advanced series by Fim Flam Philosophy, who of course does the Rainbow Dash Presents now, But that was born out of the Mentally Advanced series, which, if I remember correctly, was one of the first abridged series that got off the ground. It's clever, and it's very intelligently written, and it's a very, very, very cynical point of view on My Little Pony world, and of course it's hilarious. And so yeah, that is in the show notes. Next we have the music, which this month is Flutter Wonder by Pinkie Pie Swear. Pinkie Pie Swear is such a fantastic musician, and I remember when Flutter Wonder came out, I know that I listened to it like 20 times constantly, because it was a beautiful piece of music. And of course now it's been remixed to death, but it's still really satisfying to hear the original sometimes. So there is a link to that in the description. Show notes. Sorry.
And then the fan fiction that we want to talk about this month is the classic My Little Dashie by Rob Kikrin, 53. I'm sure that most people have read this fan fiction by now, unless you're one of the people that just aren't into fan fictions.
I haven't read it.
Which is okay. But this was, I think, the first fan fiction that I ever read in the fandom, and those of you that know about the fan fiction, it's very, very heartwarming. Towards the end, it's very sad, and literally the first time I read it, I did cry. It was just that good. So if you haven't read it yet, go ahead and take a look at that. The description to that is in the show notes. That completes our podcast for this week. This has been the Lightning Round episode 6. Make sure to join us next week with our interview with Celestia Radio. And until then, I'm Lightning.
And I'm Robot.
And we'll see you all next time.
To be the one stuck on the sideline, but lately things are starting to change. I would have never thought that being the way I am could make everything end up this way. This is never what I would have expected. There's nothing wrong, but they still want me corrected. Why can't you just let me do what I do? I'm not hurting anyone, so why are you? Why are you? How could you try and change who I've always been? What did I do wrong? I never wanted any of this. I'm sorry if I ever offended any of you, but I am who I am, there's not much more that I can do. A wise man once said that friendship was magic. The way I see it, it's been nothing but tragic. I tried my best and it wasn't quite there. A fairy tale, but no happy ending for this mare. Don't know what went wrong. They don't love me anymore. So long. Now I'm left out on my own. Wish there was somewhere for me to call home. Is it not enough that I'm in the background? You wanna drop me because of how my voice sounds? Well, I apologize if I ever made you sad, but I will not be sorry for being who I am. This is who I am. How could you try and change who I've always been? What did I do wrong? I never wanted any of this. I'm sorry if I ever offended any of you, but I am who I am, there's not much more that I can do. A wise man once said that friendship was magic. The way I see it, it's been nothing but tragic. I tried my best and it wasn't quite there. A fairy tale but no happy ending for this mare. Could you try and change who I've always been? What did I do wrong? I never wanted any of this. I'm sorry if I ever offended any of you, but I am who I am, there's not much more that I can do. A wise man once said that friendship was magic. The way I see it, it's been nothing but tragic. I tried my best and it wasn't quite there. So will there ever be a happy ending for this man?